Welcome back, everyone, to Grand Tactician: The Civil War. It's late October of 1862. We're pursuing this Union army that has retaken, or this Confederate army that has retaken Petersburg, Army of the Potomac. I'm sending my flying flotilla down here to see if we can't start shelling Fort Norfolk. Army of Virginia is there with about 12,000 men. And it looks like the Army of the Kanawha is going to run into a rather small Army of Northern Virginia under Charles Field. I feel like that's one we can probably just auto-resolve. We've got about a month to 2 months before we start seeing some of our high-quality weapons start arriving. I got to keep a close eye on the Navy here because I don't want to lose any ships from this shelling. But this is a really nice way to start leveling up your fleet. Taking a lot of damage here, though. There's only 12 men in the fort. It looks like the ships are holding up pretty good. Just watching the USS Bainbridge. I'm going to send the Atlantic blockading squadron down here to help with this. And let's see if the combined firepower can do this. And actually, the Atlantic blockading squadron has the amphibious attack ability, so they could actually take the fort. Of course, the Army of Virginia would immediately lay siege to it, but that's okay. Glorious victory at Salem, so that auto-resolve battle with the Army of the Kanawha, that worked out. Virginia Military Institute, I say we go capture that. Let's send Winfield Scott and the Army of the Kanawha up the Shenandoah Valley, shall we? We'll see what happens there. We're sitting tight there. This fight's still going on. I think it's going to get a lot better once the Atlantic blockading squadron arrives. Alright, now we'll see what happens here. In the meantime, what's Scott doing? He's moving up the Shenandoah. We're going to grab the Military Institute. I don't know if that's something we can take over and actually use or if it'll just shut down. Army of Tennessee is in contact with the 17th Corps of our Army of the Tennessee. Looks like we've got a nice advantage here, but we'll fight this one out. Alright, we are on the Shiloh battlefield. And it looks like we're going to be holding a position right around Shiloh Church, which is the main objective right now. Confederates are going to be coming in from the southwest. Kind of where they came in historically. So we're pretty much fighting the Shiloh battlefield in a similar area to where it was really fought, just a much smaller scale. So I'll go ahead and dig in right in here around Shiloh Church. I think we'll try to use some of these creeks to our advantage, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, our first sight of the enemy as they are coming down right toward our center here. I'm still covering kind of the wide flanks just in case he decides to come down one of those areas there. Got some 24-pounder howitzers right here in the center, and they've already opened up on the enemy. We're going to hope that they can cause some massive casualties. There is a second road they're coming down, and actually I don't have anybody covering that exact spot. That's a little gap in my line, and he seems ready to exploit it. So we've got to be careful here. I do have the 8th Missouri American Zouaves over there. They can kind of hit them in their flank as they're coming down. Got my 30-pounder Parrots opening up for the first time. If he gets this artillery into a place where I think I can hit him, I'm definitely going to do counter battery fire with that, because these 30-pounders could just destroy his artillery. I'm going to go ahead and tell them now to go counter battery. Alright, looks like he's moving Stewart over this way now. He might have seen me moving to cover that position. I'm going to hold just the 37th Iowa down here under Jefferson C. Davis to cover this bridge just in case. But I'm going to send these other 2 brigades up here to where the main body appears to be going. Let's get John Logan back off the front of the line. And then we'll wait and see, but it looks like he's going to try to build up right here. We're estimating about 18,000 men for him. Well, I don't know what on earth happened how he could possibly have done this, but he's taken out my 30-pounder battery, which I had firing on him with no success. He also has this unit under Stewart right here that was firing on me at really long range. I've got Lawrence's here, and he wasn't in range for me, so he must have had Mississippi rifles in McCulloch's brigade, because I can't quite reach him there. And now he's got a bunch more artillery moving up. I've got some 10-pounder Parrots over here. But yeah, I don't know what in the world happened that I lost that crew for those 30-pounders that easily. Looks like the Rockford rifles are able to return fire now. I gotta figure out where I can get these 10-pounder Parrots into action. Let's see if we can move them in a little closer. Alright, so let's bring Sturgis up right here. He's got his guns right up in my face right now, which we're targeting as best we can. I may have to swing my left wing around. In the meantime, I could probably at least bring over the Cav. Casualties about even so far. Gotta watch the Rockford rifles. They've lost 145 men. I think they'll be okay. Alright, I think we can probably bring Jefferson Davis's brigade up. This Cav's gonna charge me here. Alright, so far so good, other than losing those 30-pounders, which I still don't fully understand. I think we're gonna bring some reinforcements over here. Let's send the Michigan Mighty Beavers over as a reserve, just because this appears to be where he's attacking, and I don't want to end up with any holes in the line, although we're about to hit nightfall. Yeah, he's gonna come in at me. Our American Zouaves might break from this attack, I'm not sure. We're about to find out. Yeah, they did, darn it. So we have Michigan Mighty Beavers coming over. They're gonna have to plug into that gap. We're gonna be hitting nightfall before too long anyway. But can't blame the 8th Missouri too much for that. They were in a rough spot on the line, and his Cav just tore right into him. So the good news is now we're gonna have the Cowboy Brigade pour some fire into them as soon as the 8th Missouri gets out of the way, and we can hit them. We gotta watch these guns too, though. And now our Cav's starting to move up. I'm gonna try to bring them up and see if we can't get into his guns and disrupt them a little bit. Oh, now the 8th Missouri is gonna go that way. See, the problem is they're going back and forth, and they're getting right in Cowboy Brigade's line of fire. You'll see in just a second they're gonna block that. Did earlier. Maybe they're not going to this time. Now there are instances historically, in fact, I'm working on my trip to Antietam that's coming in a couple weeks here, and it happened several times at Antietam, particularly with artillery, where you'd have Union artillery trying to stop a Confederate attack, and their own men were in the way, and they kept yelling at them to get in the way, and finally they just opened up and fired because they felt like, hey, if killing a few more of our guys is what we have to do to stop this Confederate attack and keep from losing our guns, that's what we're going to do. So sometimes they made the conscious decision for friendly fire to happen in order to stop an attack. Alright, we got to get up there with the Mighty Beavers and get into this artillery, which we're doing. We did break his cav. Let's see, it's October 31st. It's Halloween, so I would guess probably fairly soon we're going to run out of daylight and the battle will be over for the day. Probably should have rallied them before they got to that point. Alright, Jefferson C. Davis has opened up. Get the Imperial Stormtroopers doing the same. Just got to give them a range order. Oh, here he comes. He's gonna go all out attack on me on these two brigades over here. Interesting decision. He's gonna try to break my right. Come on, 37th Iowa, hold tight. Alright, these guys are coming into quite a maelstrom of fire. We got the Imperial Stormtroopers in front of them, but then you've got the Cowboy Brigade pouring into their flanks, so they're not going to be able to hold for very long there like that. There's the end of the day. So now we'll have a chance to redeploy if needed. I don't know how much I really need to redeploy. I'm going to bring the Cowboy Brigade over here. And then I'm going to kind of shift. We've got a little spot here where we can't move quite up all the way. American Zouaves we're going to hold in a reserve position. Hancock's Cav, same thing. Let's shift Rosecrans over here. So our divisions are a little mixed, but that kind of thing happened on the battlefield sometimes too, so. Beautiful, look at that. Look at those volleys happening into the Confederate flanks over here. That's nice. So we just need Torbert and the Imperial Stormtroopers to hold on and just absorb their fire for a little while we just devastate their flanks. Because we've got flanking fire coming in on both sides. And I need Davis to hold over here. And once a couple of these units break, then we can have Sturgis turn and pour into these guys. And then we just kind of need to hold the line over here. Things are starting to shift in our direction, though the casualties are still even, which is kind of surprising considering what we're doing in firepower. I'm gonna have the Cowboy Brigade fire on these guys, so we've got 2 brigades firing on them. We've got 3 brigades firing on this mess here in the center. I need Carlin to move up just a hair so he can start hitting Stewart. We'll go ahead and move these guys up. Here comes another cavalry charge, I think. This will probably be one of the last battles of this war where I have a significant advantage in manpower. Now that he's passed the draft, we're going to see his army sizes balloon quickly. He's going to have more men than me in the field. But we're going to overcome that with superior weapons and tactics. Man, the numbers are still even. I'm really surprised by that. I feel like my firepower should be better than his. He did move these guys up, so now we've got even numbers there. See if we can't try to man some of these 30-pounder parrots again. we doing? These guys are nervous. Let's rally them. Man, they're taking a lot of casualties. I don't like that. Alright, we're going to move Imperial Stormtroopers over here to fire into the flank of this cav. They're unstable. I think 37th Iowa's about to break, but they got 2 brigades that have been pouring fire into them. Here they go. Alright, we're going to bring Hancock around. Alright, we just broke him, so that helps. There goes his cav. And we haven't really engaged half our army. He's starting to pull back. Alright, I'm going after this battery. Imperial Stormtroopers. Gonna go up the hill and try to hit that battery. I don't want to sit here and be taking fire from them. How are we doing here? Cowboy Brigade's only lost 43 men. Once we drive off this battery, then we can turn our fire on D's brigade. Firing uphill against a target in cover is not ideal, but I don't really have a lot of choice here. Alright, we're going to charge the guns. Because he's pulling back over here. He's got no cover. Come on, boys. Charging up the hill. Right, he's getting orders. I think he's going to pull this brigade back. If not, we're going to turn and put fire into the rear. Granted, that opened me up to fire in the rear too. I didn't think these guys were stable. I thought they were all pulling back. Oh, that was a mistake on my part. That's okay. Alright. He's lost about 500 more men than me now. Now the 4th Iowa under Rosecrans, they're getting in on the action. They're in here on the left of the Michigan Mighty Beavers, who still only lost 13 men. They're taking on some artillery right now. Artillery that's putting some flanking fire on the Cowboy Brigade, so we want to be careful. Sending the 8th Missouri over there to reinforce them. Alright, let's go ahead and see if we can finish this thing. We're going to send our unengaged brigades in to try and force a conclusion. Tell you what, the Cowboy Brigade has been shooting it out with D's Brigade for quite a while, but D's Brigade's almost at 50% casualties now. Alright, here comes our move on the other flank. We've got the Rockford Rifles. They've lost 565 men. I don't even remember really seeing them that engaged, but I guess they have been. Got the Utah Outlaws all the way out here on the flank. Let's move them in. Vance's brigade's trying to pour into the flank of the Cowboy Brigade. We're going to turn them. They're down to 14 rounds. They're almost out of ammo. Alright, Michigan Mighty Beavers, let's charge them. we can break them, that might be the end of this battle. Come on, boys. It worked. They broke them. Beautiful charge by the mighty beavers. And with that, the Confederate army is in retreat. Lovely. Alright, so that was tougher than I expected. Of course, I was charging uphill most of the time. Let's take a look at the combat report and see who inflicted the casualties in this one. So 2,300 for the 3rd Division. Specifically, look at Cowboy Brigade. 1,500 inflicted casualties in that one. At a loss of just 166 men. So they inflicted, what, about 10 to 1 casualties. Beautiful, beautiful job. The Iowa Graybeards were the ones who took it on the chin in that one. They lost 830 men, 29% in total. Overall, looks like the Cav, they lost 16% in that battle. And then our 10,000 man 2nd Division. Alright, so the enemy, we inflicted 681 killed, 797 captured. Our casualties were about 3,100 men. We also captured 2,369 rifles and 24 guns from the battlefield. 798 enemy soldiers have been paroled as no prison camps were available. So what that's telling me is we've got some work to do. Let's go to federal buildings. We have it set to auto manage and auto placement, but apparently that has not included prison camps. So we need to build some prison camps. Now, traditionally, there was one in Rock Island, Illinois. There was Camp Chase in Columbus was another one. There was Elmira up in New York. There was Fort Delaware. So we got a lot of different places we can be putting these. So I'm going to put one, I think, somewhere up in here. It's going to be $4.4 million to build each one of these. And I don't know if we need to put them in the different theaters or how that works, but I think that's what we're gonna do. We'll try to keep them back from the front lines as much as we can. Prisoners are automatically transferred among all available prison camps to avoid overcrowding. Overcrowding would rebuff enemy states and increase their support for the war. Yeah, we want to avoid an Andersonville type situation, or Elmira for that matter. A lot of people don't realize Elmira in New York, which was a prison camp in the north where Confederate soldiers were held, was about as bad, almost as bad as Andersonville. Alright, so we'll put this other one near Springfield. I think 3 prison camps is probably more than enough. I also don't know if we've built any military. Oh, we don't have the military education project at level 6 to be able to do that. Let's take a look. We haven't even gone to level 1 on this one, have we? Alright, so it looks like we actually did take Fort Norfolk. I don't remember getting that notification, but I'm sure I probably did, and I just didn't pay attention. Let's go ahead and garrison that bad boy. It's going to take 12 days for that to happen. Let's check and see where we're at on our weapon orders that we've got going right now. The Dryce Needle Gun's 36 days away from having 25,000 of those. Can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome. Our Gatling guns, 56 days away. Our coffee mill guns are 56 days away. What else we got? We've got some more Whitworth rifles coming in 39 days. The Army of Virginia retook the fort before I could get it garrisoned. The Republicans retained their majority, so that helps with the war effort. But now we've got our squadrons going back after that fort again. And it looks like our Atlantic Blockading Squadron actually has a 3rd perk. And looks like 17th Corps again, but this time facing a stronger opposition. Multiple armies coming our way. So a lot of the fighting is going to be done by Wilcox in this particular episode, I guess. Let's zoom out and see where we're at and what we're talking about. We're talking about Western Tennessee. That corps is the only one we've got over there because we're spread out, although it does look like he is moving on our fort down there in Chattanooga. All right, we're back on the Shiloh battlefield, this time defending the sunken road. That's the general area that we're dealing with. We're still facing kind of west-southwest. The Confederates are going to be coming in from that same spot over there down Owl Creek Road. Once he gets up into here, he could go any number of ways. He could come at me over here. He could come at me from down here. But we expect it'll come one of these directions. Okay, so he is coming in on my left, it appears. Though we're still keeping an eye out over here on the right. I did move forward a little bit with the 20th Ohio. This is Logan's division, 4th Iowa, Utah Outlaws, just to be safe. But it does look like the attack's going to come right at the Rockford Rifles in the center, with the cavalry and Imperial stormtroopers on the left. So it's going to be the same guys fighting it again. Here's the American Zouaves. Let's move them up. I'm starting to put Hancock out on the flank. I'm holding a reserve. This time he's got more men, though. He's got about 10,000 more men than he had last time we fought him. Torbert's going to get right into their flank right off the bat. So we need units like the Rockford Rifles to be able to hold. I'm having a hard time getting my guns in a place where they can fire here, though. I'm going to bring these 24-pounder howitzers around, see if I can get them in the open somewhere. Where are my 30-pounders? Oh, they're way back here. That is not helpful at all. Alright, let's bring Abbott up with the Flemish Lions. Try to win the superior firepower duel here. So far, so good. Once we get the Flemish Lions up, we're going to have a ton of fire hitting Branch's brigade. Alright, here comes some more units over on my left. Let's be cautious of that. Flemish Lions have engaged. Cooper's stable so far. American Zouaves. Boy, every time they seem to be taking the brunt of the fighting. Seems like they're all loading up over there, so I may go ahead and bring Manning Force forward with the 20th Ohio. Alright, let's try to do some counter battery fire here with these parrots. Alright, Cooper. Let's rally you before you get too much worse. We do have Michigan Mighty Beavers right behind them. We may need to replace Cooper if they're going to break again. Honestly, though, I don't know how Branch is holding up against 3 brigades. Alright, Rockford Rifles are going to have to switch to fighting McClausen's brigade. Alright, I'm going to give 20th Ohio long range orders. Oh, there they go. Yeah, Cooper's going to have to be replaced. They only lost 300 men that time, and they still broke. Alright, we'll move up the Michigan Mighty Beavers. He's still got units coming down that road. I'm going to tell Force to send out some skirmishers here. significant casualty difference this time, which didn't happen the last time we fought these guys. He's got a lot of guns over here, though. That concerns me. How are we doing on counter battery fire? Is it having any impact whatsoever? Nope, so far we've lost one gun. He hasn't lost any. Alright, let's keep the fire up on Branch. I don't know how he's lasted as long as he has. He's lost 850 men. He's only got 500 left. That's crazy. There they go. Here come 4 or 5 more brigades, though. Now they're idle, so that means they're not able to hit any counter battery. That's why. So let's just put them back to fire at will. Just hit whatever targets you can. Alright, I think we're going to have to bring up the balance of Logan's brigade over here. We'll bring Utah Outlaws into a reserve position. And here comes another wave of the attack. Here are stormtroopers, Rockford Rifles. Alright, Force, bring your skirmishers in. Let's light up Gladden's brigade. Here comes an attack over on my left. So let's do this. Let's see if there's a possibility of turning up on the flank. I think there is. Oh, I don't like this. What's happening here with Rockford Rifles? They're dealing with a lot there right now. That is not a tenable situation. We need more pressure on all these brigades. These casualties are going to go up in a hurry. There we go. Drive back that cav. I'm going to have 3 brigades firing on Gladden. That was 20th Ohio holding up. They've lost 200 men. About 2-to-1 casualties, though. Alright, I think we're going to drive Gladden off. Rockford Rifles. That's a lot of men they're losing. Let's shift the Cowboy Brigade over here to behind them. Just anticipating that they may not be able to hold up under all that fire. End of the day. That's actually really, really good news under the circumstances. We can pull them off the front line just because of how many men they've lost. Unfortunately, we've got to do some redeploying now because of the way the line is. Force has lost 235 men, so I'm going to pull him back and put Stevenson on the front line. I think we're in good shape otherwise. Alright, let's resume. 3,600 casualties for the enemy, just 1,500 for me. Pretty happy with that. Let's just hold the line. Coming straight at the Michigan Mighty Beavers over here. Imperial Stormtroopers. He's pushing down all points on this line right now. We've lost a lot of men from this artillery battery. Let's pull them back. Alright, Cowboy Brigade, hold. Man, look at this attack. This is a massive attack by the Confederates. They're pushing everywhere on the line. Thankfully, I've got reserves. Just gotta watch for any weak spots. He's taking it on the chin, man. These casualties have been massive for him. They're getting in real close over here. Gladden's brigade's lost 800 men. I'm going to send the 20th Ohio to charge into that line. See if we can't break him there. That might spell the end of this battle if we do. Oh, we broke Colquitt. Alright, Utah Outlaws, you go too. We're going to send 2 full brigades charging into Gladden. Come on, boys. Beautiful. Kennedy broke. That may be the end of this thing. 6,000 casualties on the Confederates. They're out. Okay, let's take a look while we wait for this one to finish up and see who did the damage here. By far, we're talking 2nd Division this time. Wow. Flemish Lions, almost 1,000 casualties inflicted. Michigan Mighty Beavers. And then the Rockford Rifles. 790. American Zouaves, I don't know what's going on with you guys, buddy. Maybe we just need a new officer in command of that unit. Alright, so let's go ahead to our 17th Corps. That's Wilcox. Let's find that unit. Take a look at that commander. Yeah, he's definitely defamed. I think that's an understatement. Who can we replace him with that's decent? Let's go down the ranks a little bit here. Charles Hamilton. Solid. I like it. Don't have a picture, but we've got a solid commander there, so I'm happy with that. I think Hamilton's going to turn the fortunes of the American Zouaves around. I'm excited for them. I think that'll be a much better situation, so we'll see what happens. Confederates are at 192,000 in the field now. We're waiting on our new weapons to arrive. We'll see what happens. Looks like we've got a new chapter, which means that with that, new policies are now available. We'll be in Chapter 3, policies. So we've got Industrialization 4. We've got Military 3 is available over here. U.S. Colored Troops, I think we'll definitely do that. We can do Abolition of Slavery. That will add 10 to the national morale for the CSA. It'll improve European relations and improve Union national morale. But we're going to start with the colored troops. We're going to do that first. I like the idea of being able to get them in there. Lincoln did credit them with turning the tide of the war, and rightfully so. All right, so it looks like the Western Army is moving down towards McClellan's Army of the Ohio, which appears to be cut off and unhappy. Army of the Cumberland is right here. His Army of the Shenandoah. So we got a lot going on there in central Kentucky. Army of the Kanawha has taken the Virginia Military Institute, which is now a Union Military Institute. So we're going to move Winfield Scott now to take Lynchburg. We got to get our corps back down here to try and retake Petersburg. I'm going to leave the 2nd Corps up there just to protect the way to Washington, even though we do have forts up there. Eventually, I'm probably going to send a corps down here to try and deal with them once and for all. All right, it's November 7th. Confederates are at 195 now. Okay, we've done enough research to get military education. So that means we should be able to place at least one military academy now. Let's take a look. Oh, it still won't let us. We have to get it to level 6, which I don't know what level it's currently at. But it said on military education that researching it would allow us one military academy. But maybe we already have that one. I don't know. Oh well, there were other things I probably could have spent that on, and I kind of wish I had now. How about over here? A lot of these are just about reform and construction. Subsidizing industry we've done several times. Trade deals. Our credit rating's pretty good right now, so I don't think we need more available volunteers either. Alright, we'll go administration reform. It reduces the time for new policies, things like that. How are we on these weapons? I cannot wait to see some Gatling guns in action. Let's take a look. Our Dry's Needle guns, 26 days away. First Gatling guns are still 46 days away, so that's going to be probably at least one more episode before we see those in action. More Whitworths coming in 28 days. So we're going to wrap it up right there. Let me know your thoughts. We've got a long way to go. This will probably be the longest campaign we've ever had, and that's because of the constant updates they're making to the game that do make it more of a challenge, which is what we like to see. So hit that like button if you would. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.